welcome to Dice and Anarchy. If this is your first time watching the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that like button. Today, I'm going to be doing an Ayara deck tech. This is by far one of my most favorite decks, and I play it a lot, if you haven't noticed. So we're going to start off with the commander Ayara. First, a Locthwain. Whenever she enters, and whenever another black creature enters on the battlefield on my control, I deal 1 damage to each opponent, and I gain 1 life. And then she has a tap ability where I can tap, sacrifice another black creature to draw a card. I really like her. It's like having a mono black Perforos in your command zone, and also a card advantage machine in the command zone. I kinda made a good stuff mono black pile, but it's mainly Aristocrats and Reanimator. It's kind of a combination of both, like most mono black decks are. So, of course, we'll get to the good stuff. First, we'll start off with the Reanimator cards. We're going to start off with Victimize. It's very good, especially in token decks, because I just sack tokens and bring back all my token producers. Then we have Chainer, Dementia Master. He's an older card, but he is very powerful. Next one is a Mass Reanimate spell, Living Death. And my last one is Animate Dead. There's a few other Reanimator spells I could put in here, but I just don't have them on hand. But I think this job does the job very well. Next up are the big Reanimator targets. We have Kokusho, the Evening Star. When this guy enters, each opponent loses 5 life, and I gain life equal to the life lost this way. It's very strong. I pretty much got him because he's a second copy of Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which deals X damage, and I gain life equal to all the damage dealt to all opponents, equal to my Devotion to Black, which is a little bit stronger, but they both deal crap tons of damage. They're great to hit. Fun to have when you have a sack outlet on board and Chainer. You just keep bringing them back and back. Next up, I have recurring creatures. I have 3 in the deck. I have a Reassembling Skeleton, a Bloodghast, and a Gravecrawler. Each of these 3 creatures have various ways to come back from the graveyard to the battlefield, which allows me to pop Ayara multiple times with just 1 creature. Next up, these are all my enters and death triggers payoffs. So we have Dictate of Erebos and Butcher of Malakir. They both serve about the same purpose. It's whenever I sack a creature, everyone else sacks a creature. Very good. Then I have a few creatures and an artifact. Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat, Sir Conrad the Grim. These 2 deal damage and gain me a life whenever a creature dies. This guy pings each opponent whenever a card goes to the graveyard or moves from the graveyard. And this one is a lot like Ayara. It pings everybody when a creature enters. Bantu's Monument. And the last one is Zathru Necromancer. I actually do have quite a lot of humans in here. So whenever a human dies, I make a 2/2 zombie token creature. Next up, we have my sack outlets. And there's quite a few there. We have Viscerous here, Priest of Forgotten Gods, Braids Arisen Nightmare, Whisper Blood Liturgist, Skull Clamp, Phyrexian Altar, Carrion Feeder, Yawgmoth Thran Physician, and God Eternal Bantu. I'll go through each of these very quickly. Viscerous here, cheap, lets me scry, very good. Priest of Forgotten Gods actually won me the last game this deck was on the channel. It's ramp, card draw, and also removal on your opponent's side. It's very good for 2 mana. Braids the Arisen Nightmare. She is a sack outlet that also helps keep stuff off my opponent's boards. I pretty much put her in a deck because Braids is one of my favorite cards, and I can't play the illegal one. But she's still quite good. Whisper, Blood Liturgist, allows me to sacrifice 2 creatures to bring 1 back. So it's a sack outlet and also a reanimator as well. Very good. Skull Clamp is Skull Clamp. You don't need to be explained why that card's broken. Phyrexian Altar gives me mana. Carrion Feeder is just another cheap 1 mana sack outlet. You could just become a beater, but for the most part, just the sack outlet part. Yawgmoth is removal and card draw. Very good. And then God Eternal Bond 2 allows me to get rid of a bunch of my useless tokens and turn them into card advantage. He's also a very good card to have in the deck. Next up are my token producers, which are Doom Dissenter, Jadar, Ghoul-Colored Nephalia, Ophiomancer, Sengir Autocrat, Chittering Witch, Plague of Vermin, Endrick Sar, Master Breeder, Piper of the Swarm, Abhorrent Overlord, Dreadhorde Invasion, and Dread Summons. These are pretty much the cards that are going to be dealing the most damage to all my opponents most of the time. Doom Dissenter, he just makes 1 token when he dies. He's cheap. We got Jadar and Dreadhorde Invasion. They both kind of do the same thing, except this one's on upkeep and this one's on end step, but it makes me a token a turn. Ophiomancer is along the same lines, but I think a little bit stronger, because if I can get rid of the snake every upkeep, I get more snakes in general. Sengir Autocrat is a bread and butter. Just toss him down, you deal 4 damage to the whole table, gain 4 life. You have 4 bodies on the field. Chittering Witch is opponent dependent, but it's pretty much on the same level as Sengir Autocrat most of the time. Plague of Vermin is especially noteworthy because if I have more health than the rest of my opponents, that means I just instantly win with this card. Because I could spend all but 1 life, make that amount of tokens, and then everyone else is going to have to take that much damage. Very good card. 1 card combo with Ayara on the field. Endrick Sar makes tokens whenever I cast a spell, whenever I cast a creature spell. Piper the Swarm. I used to have a rat sub-theme in this deck. I don't really anymore, but my deck used to make a lot of rats, so this was like a hidden way to steal stuff. Now it just kind of produces a rat every now and then. Abhorrent Overlord is a, not quite like Plague of Vermin, but it does make a crap ton of creatures as well. And then Dread Summons, right over here. It mills my opponents, and it also makes me tokens as well. Next up, we got some of my card draw pieces. We have Grim Haruspex, Midnight Reaper, Harvester of Souls, Bolus of Citadel, but it's not really card draw, but it works. Ad Nauseam, and Night's Whisper. Normally, I would run more spell draw, but since this deck is so heavily focused on creatures dying and the whole Aristocrats theme as well, I figured it'd be better to have more permanent-based card draw. So these 3, plus Yawgmoth and my Ayara, give me enough card advantage throughout the game. Then Ad Nauseam just draws me a boatload of cards. Night's Whisper is there for the earlier game, or if I have nothing to do during my turn, because sometimes that happens. And Bolus of Citadel is just broken. You should put it in every black deck if you can. Next up is my ramp package. We have Calling the Weak, Cryptghast, Crick, Cabal Stronghold, Bloodpat, Nykthos, Jet Medallion, Deserted Temple, Cabal Coffers. Then we have Dark Ritual and Soul Ring. Calling the Weak and Dark Ritual are both just spells that can get me a lot of mana really quick. This one helps me get Ayara on turn 1. This one helps me power out high cost stuff early. Cryptghast is a swamp doubler. Cabal Stronghold is a swamp doubler. Cabal Coffers is a swamp doubler. Nykthos gives me mana equal to my devotion to black. And then these 3 lands plus Deserted Temple are very good because this allows me to untap the lands to tap them again. Blood Pet's just a quick little ritual so I can power something out early. Jet Medallion helps the whole deck. And Soul Ring is Soul Ring. If you're not playing Soul Ring in your deck, you have a very good reason, or you are limiting yourself. Next up, we have some tutors. I have 5. I have Buried Alive, Expedition Map, Sidisi Undead Vizier, Diabolic Intent, and Mausoleum Secrets. So these two are pretty much the same, 2-drop, search for something. Buried Alive helps set up, if I have a Reanimator card in my hand, this helps me set up for a win most of the time, or if not, a really good value engine. Expedition Map just helps me find the aforementioned land cards that I had. Said Cabal Coffers, Cabal Stronghold, Nykthos, Deserted Temple. That's what this is for. And then Sidisi, a sack outlet, and it also tutors, and I can also recur. It's a very strong card, and that's why that one's in the deck. Next up are 3 haste enablers. Good old classic Lightning Greaves, followed by the Swiftfoot Boots, and 1,000-Year Elixir. These are in here. These 2 give protection to Ayara, and all 3 of them allow her to tap the turn she comes out, which could be really big, especially if someone has removal in hand or something, or just to get me that little bit further ahead. So that's why these cards are important. Next up is my removal package. We have Fleshbag Marauder, Plague Crafter, Bonus Hunger, Massacre Girl, Meathook Massacre, Tragic Slip, Slaughter Pact, Go for the Throat, and Vendetta. These 2 make everyone sacrifice a card. These ones are really good because I usually don't like spending mana for a single target removal unless I really have to. This one hits these 2 both hit all my opponents. Same thing with these 3. These are my board wipes, and they work very well. Tragic Slip, very easy to get this to -13 in my deck, so it's just a 1-drop removal spell. Slaughter Pact costs 0. Sometimes you need to kill the 1 creature, that's why these are in here. Same thing with this one. Because sometimes you just need to get their commander off the board or their biggest threat. So it's always important to have removal. It's always important to have board wipes. And then the last non-swamp card in the deck is Villas, Broker of Blood. I don't really have a spot to put him in. He doesn't really fit into the deck, minus just working with Crick. He's just a good stuff card, but he's fun to play with. So I have him in the deck. And then after that, I have 30 swamps. Or, no, 29 swamps, sorry. And that is the Ayara deck tech. If you have any questions, I would recommend commenting, and I would love to discuss my deck with you guys.